Hello, Warrior fans. This is Scott, and welcome back to another edition of DUBS Playoff Watch. Once again, appreciate very much that you tuning in, all five of you. Seriously, only 2 games left in the season, at least for the Warriors and many of the other teams in the NBA as well. Very exciting, though. Some teams still have 3 games left to play. We're going to go over that today. I'm going to get right to it. So let me go ahead and put up the standings, and then we will walk through some of the scenarios, and specifically we're going to focus on the Warriors, obviously, to start. So let's take a look at the standings, and as you can see, hopefully you can see the whole view there, but the hottest teams over the last 10 are the Blazers, the Mavs, the Warriors, the Kings, and the Nuggets, in that order, when we don't not only look over the last 10, but also how many games they've won in a row. So the play-in status for the Warriors, this is what we got to do. We got to root for the Kings tonight and tomorrow because they play the Grizzlies back-to-back. Huge games, not only for the Warriors, but for Northern California and for Kings fans as well. So critically important. And then the Warriors need to win tomorrow against the Pelicans. Otherwise, it will come down to Sunday to determine the 8th spot versus the 9th spot. And again, if you end up in the 7th or 8th play-in versus ending up in the 9th or the 10th, the 7th and the 8th, you get 2 games to make it into the actual NBA playoffs, as opposed to the 9th or 10th play-in where you get 1 shot. So critically important. So again, Kings tonight, Kings tomorrow, Warriors tomorrow, and then hopefully they don't have to worry about the Sunday game against the Grizzlies. But whatever ends up happening, it is going to be awfully exciting as long as the Warriors win. Let's see, and also want to mention, while we're on the topic of our beloved Warriors, quick note from my crack reporting staff, keeping up on everything Warriors and NBA related. The Warriors today signed a JTA, Juan Toscano Anderson, to a multi-year deal. So kudos and congrats to JTA, as it is extremely well deserved. And that, of course, opened up another 2-way contract for the Warriors, who desperately need bodies, to say the least. And as well, for a multitude of reasons, not only to contribute, but give guys breaks, guys get into foul trouble, what have you. They have just been playing shorthanded for so long now. Playing well, but shorthanded, and guys have got to be getting tired. But they did sign Jordan Bell, whom you'll all remember, provided some depth during their championship runs, along with his fondness, I should say, of a particular liquor during one of the parades. Quite humorous for those of us who remember that. And JTA's signing also enabled them to sign Gary Payton II to a 2-way deal. So that's his second 2-way deal, which will enable him to be available throughout the rest of the season, the play-in tournament, and any other playoff rounds as well. So kudos to all of them. That's all really exciting. All right. Now let's move to the Kings, who I just spoke about, how they can help the Warriors. But let's talk about the Kings. The Kings got something to play for. They're now just 2 games behind the Spurs in the 10th spot. And the Spurs, as you can see, are falling fast. They are 3-7. And the Kings are the exact inverse. They are 7-3 over their last 10. So the Kings have got a shot as they play the Grizzlies back-to-back. Now they end with the Jazz, but Mitchell's still been out, and frankly, the way the Kings have been playing, they're competitive against everybody. So they could conceivably win their next 3 and get in, assuming the Spurs continue with their downfall. And the Spurs Again, the Spurs may have the toughest schedule in basketball remaining over the last three. They got to play the Knicks, and the Knicks continue to play for a position in the East. And then they got to play the Suns twice. And the Suns are still playing for something, for the first spot. So they have it tough, and this race is going to be extremely exciting. So, all of us Kings fans, Northern California fans, West Coast fans, come on, man, we got to be rooting for the Kings. Let's do it for not only our beloved Warriors, but for the Kings as well. As far as 1 through 4 go in the West, I believe and I project that it will remain as is based on their remaining schedules. Teams 5 through 8 will remain as well. At least that is my projection. Reason being, now the Mavs have the easiest remaining schedule, no question about that, and Porzingis just returned. And the Blazers may have the toughest, but they are extremely hot. As you can see, they're 9-1 over their last 10. They have won 5 in a row. Doesn't matter who they play. And plus, they hold a tiebreaker over both the Mavs and the Lakers based on head-to-head results. So this is going to be very compelling to say the least. And for sure, no team in the top 4 of the Western Conference wants to play any of the teams that are currently in the 5th through the 8th spots. They are asking for trouble. They're either 3 of the 4 hottest teams in the league, with regard to the Trailblazers, the Mavericks, and the Warriors. Or if it's the Lakers, they're just going to throw LeBron and AD at them. So, I don't know. Let's ask my son-in-law what he thinks about this. What are the Lakers' chances?
Lakers are in.
Well, there you go. Words of wisdom from my favorite son-in-law. Very confident still in his Lakers squad. And I guess if you got LeBron coming back, don't know if he's going to be completely healthy, but if you got him coming back, I guess I would be confident as well. Especially since they're going to have 2 shots at getting in, because that first shot is going to be against our beloved Warriors. And let's not forget that. So that is going to be fun. But again, Warriors got to take care of business. Kings, let's hope they are taking care of business. As long as the Warriors do what they need to do in their last 2 games, all is good. You only got to win one time to make it in. All right. So let's talk about the East real quick. And I'm going to put up those standings, and then we're going to go over those scenarios. And that's going to do it for today's show. But let's go over the East real quick. Okay, as for the East, we'll just look at the first 3 teams to start this off. And basically, I don't see anything really changing here drastically. Now, Harden rejoined the Nets yesterday. They look great. Harden looked great. And they're only a game and a half behind the 76ers. But there's only a couple games remaining, so that's not going to change. And let's face it, yes, the Nets are likely going to win. They have the Bulls and the Cavaliers left. But the Sixers, even though they have 3 games left and they play the Heat tonight, they end the season playing the Magic tomorrow and then the Magic again on Sunday. So they should win those, and first and second shouldn't change. And as a result of those wins and the Nets wins, the Bucks are going to end up staying in 3rd. And now let's talk about the Hawks, Heat, and Knicks. They're going at it for the 4th, 5th, and 6th spots. That is extremely tight. The Heat and the Knicks are both only half a game behind the Hawks, who are in the 4th spot. So this is going to be really, really compelling. However, the Hawks, let's look at the tiebreakers on these. The Hawks hold the tiebreaker over the Heat, and the Heat hold it over the Knicks, but the Knicks hold it over the Hawks. So very interesting what could come of those 3 teams and impacting the 4th, 5th, and 6th spots here over their last remaining games. The Heat, let's talk about the Heat. They have to play the Sixers and the Bucks and then the Pistons. I suspect that they will still win a couple of those games. The Hawks only have two remaining. They play the Magic and the Rockets. They should win both of those games, so they should still keep their lead on the Heat. And then the Knicks, they have to beat the Spurs today to help the Kings also, as well as to help themselves. And then they play the Hornets, and the Hornets are struggling and battling to just maintain their eighth spot. And then the Knicks should beat the Celtics based on all the injuries to the Celtics and how the Celtics have been playing. And Jaylen Brown is out for the rest of the season. So that is, I see the Knicks winning those last two games as well. So that is going to be very interesting to see how that holds up. But seeing how the Heat hold the tiebreaker over the Knicks, again, I expect the Hawks, then the Heat, and the Knicks to maintain those spots. Now, having said that, I do think that we are going to see some movement in the 8th, 9th, and 10th spots. I believe the Pacers, who are only 5-5, but they've won their last two in a row, based on who they play, I think the Pacers. Now they play the Bucks, they play the Lakers, and they play the Raptors. Now I think they're going to get over and win 2 of 3 of those games. That is my prediction, and that will put them at 35 wins. Now the Hornets have only won 4 of their. They're 4 of 6, I should say. Excuse me, 4 of 10. They are 4 and 6 over their last 10. Have lost 2 in a row. They have been struggling. I suspect that the Hornets, who have to play the Clippers, then they play the Knicks, and then they play the Wizards, they conceivably could lose all 3 of those games, if not at least 2 of them. So they either will stay at 33 wins or they'll end up at 34, and I think the Pacers will pass them and end up at 35. Now, the Wizards, they have 2 games left, the Cavaliers and the Hornets. Now, obviously, they expect them to beat the Cavaliers, even if Beal does come back. Now, in the last game against the Hornets, if Beal is back and he is himself, then I would expect the Wizards to beat the Hornets based on how things have been going over the last 10 games. Don't get me wrong, the Hornets are a quality team, and with everybody healthy, they are extremely competitive. So I don't see that as going to be easy, but they are still going to have some guys out. So I suspect that the Wizards may end up winning those games, so they could be at 34 wins. So that could be really close. I mean, the Hornets, we could see them end up in 10th, end up or tied on that 9th spot. But I think the Pacers are going to end up in the 8th spot. It's just this guy's projection. Okay, so that's going to do it for today. A lot shorter, no highlights, because it's really coming down now. Wins, losses, as it always does. Remember, NBA, it's about buckets. Whoever scores the most wins the game. Whoever stops the other team from scoring the most, they will also win the game. Words of wisdom. You heard it here first. But it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. It's going to be entertaining. Can't wait. Starts today. Today. Kings fans, Warriors fans, root for the Kings to defeat the Grizzlies today. Root for them again to defeat the Grizzlies tomorrow. I know they've got some players on the Kings that are a little dinged up. They're going to be game time decisions, so I got my fingers crossed there. And then tomorrow, Warriors fans, Warriors, let's go, our beloved Warriors. Got to defeat the Pelicans. And then, needless to say, on Sunday, we got to defeat the Grizzlies. Whatever happens on Sunday, we got to defeat the Grizzlies. Unless the Kings can knock them off twice tonight and tomorrow, and the Warriors win tomorrow as well. Then actually, maybe Steph and Draymond and maybe Looney and maybe some of those guys, some of those veterans can get more rest, get an extra day of rest before the play-in starts, which, by the way, I believe begins on the 18th. So there will be more to come on that. Anyway, always a pleasure being here with you guys. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it. And as always, let's go Warriors. Let's go. Let's go. Getting exciting. Let's go. We're getting toward the end. Next week is playoffs, baby. Let's go. Everybody take care and stay healthy.